I am Apology89, and this is my friend Ben.
Hi, I'm tired and drinking. So
Yay!
anyone out there who's under 18, yeah.
Um, he, isn't it supposed to be 21?
Um, you can restrict that for people to join. But it doesn't matter I mean, anyone can
Oh,
watch it.
you're talking about the whole. Okay, I thought you were talking about drinking.
I
Um,
was, but
okay, so
right.
for those that don't know, I frequently participate in Ben's live art hangouts with amateur 2 cents to his professional 2 cents.
That was actually just me clearing my throat. I wasn't. Restrict that for people to join. So, yeah.
I'm getting an echo again.
Oh, do you not have headphones on? Do you have a video open somewhere? Is your YouTube
No,
channel open?
no,
Don't,
none of that's open.
better double check. I've made that mistake myself.
Okay, everything's closed now except for the Hangout window.
Okay, am I still echoing then?
Yeah, it's still going. Okay, sorry
Hmm.
about that. This is my first time. So like I was saying, I usually participate in Ben's live art hangouts.
Hey, are you fine with just being black right now then, or
Yeah, I have a sticky note over it.
yeah, okay? I mean,
Yeah,
it's your thing. I didn't know how you wanted
yeah.
to do it. If you
Um,
still wanted to remain semi-anonymous.
Semi-anonymous. Yes, I still desire that. And so we were talking the other night, and we've both known for about a month now that we're both huge fans of The Legend of Zelda. And the other morning, Ben was like, I presume you have seen the E3 trailer to Zelda U. And I was like, hells yeah.
Which was it, I guess that was still this. I don't know if it was this morning. It was this morning for you, maybe,
Mm,
because
no.
we're what 2 hours apart,
Oh, yeah.
something.
Yeah, it was the morning for me, and it was probably like the afternoon for you.
Yeah, so I remember sending it, and it was like, um, I don't know, time differences and whatever.
Oh, I
Yes,
was kind of going through stuff that day too, so.
right.
Life, everyone has one. We don't talk about them on the internet.
Until tonight.
No, it's not going that deep. Anyways, for the past couple of days, we were just going back and forth on this, and I was like, hey, let's do a hangout about Zelda. And he's like, Ben suggested we do it on my page, so after an hour of technical difficulties, here we are.
Well, it's my fault.
Huh?
So the technical difficulties were not my fault.
They were primarily my fault, people. Um, so, Ben, introduce yourself, please.
Oh, um, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Ben Yachel. I am a visual artist living and working in Pittsburgh, PA. And I have a channel called DMC Films and Cinderblock Studios. But the YouTube username is Davos Moon because I started the channel when I was 18 and I didn't know any better. And I have a variety of different things, including painting tutorials, short films, and a cocktail creation show called Medium of Mixology. And I am drinking something tonight, so cheers, all you people out there. And I've been a Zelda fan since pretty much since I was a kid. And just yeah, and after I was like, oh yeah, it's E3 this week, and checked out the checked out Nintendo's event. I didn't catch it live. I caught it like I don't know, maybe an hour after it was sort of like rendered and then up to YouTube or whatever it was. And I was like, this is really cool, and I have to send this to Lucas. So that's what I did.
Yeah, and it's funny. You're drinking a drink, and I'm thinking like, let's make it like Zelda fans anonymous. It's like, My name is Lucas Hardukers, and I'm a fan of The Legend of Zelda.
That would only be appropriate if it was something like. Mm, trying to think of something that's like weird, but also a little obscure. Like Metroid would make more sense, but Zelda's so much more mainstream that it's like.
It's so mainstream. Well, like it would make more sense with Mario since like it's Nintendo's biggest cash cow.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Zelda's at least a little bit more underground, but not really. I actually considered making a Legend of Zelda themed drink, but most of the ones that I found that I could make were shots, and I'm like, that wouldn't really work.
Let's see. So we're gonna talk about what we saw with. Well, I have like a list of stuff, and
Oh, you actually planned. I
yeah.
congratulate you.
I wrote it with a TARDIS pen.
Oh, we're such nerds.
Yeah. We didn't even
So
watch Doctor
anyone
Who.
out there who happens to be watching, who happens to be a nerd, welcome.
Um. So, anyways, I have like four stanzas, and we just finished the intro. So next up is Zelda U. Um. It was
Hopefully it has a better title than that by the time it comes out.
it was primarily talking. Let's be honest with ourselves.
hmm
It was just
I
this.
really only consider that trailer like the last minute where it's actually the trailer and not just. See, I don't want to say what's his name because I don't want to be that I don't want to be that irreverent. But
That's horrible. We're fans of the franchise, and we can't even
I
remember.
don't know the guy. The only guy anyone ever knows is Miyamoto, and it's like
We used to have our nerd cards like we
okay, but as long as I'm bringing up Miyamoto, um, I will ask you how big of a fan you are of this of if you know the story about how the initial concept for Zelda came about.
he came up with the idea because he would explore the caves within his area in Japan.
Yeah, we played when he was a kid too,
Yeah. I
and
know
I
the
was like,
story.
that is amazing.
He had caves. I had like banana trees.
Bananas in pajamas.
Ah, that show.
She was gonna say
Okay.
you remember that
Yes. Oh my
and how
gosh.
terrible it was.
I liked it.
Wasn't it just like
Um,
some kids show or something at some point?
it was a children's show, and it was very low budget.
It was. It really was.
Yeah. So
Oh, wow.
back to Zelda U, we got primarily talking from a very awesome Japanese man who
hmm
like showed us screenshots from like three different Zelda games and said that in this Zelda, you will no longer have to travel from one place to another and have the screen load. You will now go there and end up
That's
there.
that's like blew my mind. I was saying before about being on the edge of my seat and almost biting through my knuckles. What it was kind of hard to describe, but I was sitting like this, real close to the screen, and I was because I don't want to bother anyone else in the house, and I'm going like this, and just really trying not to just go insane.
I had a similar experience. I was in a hospital waiting room watching the trailer, like, don't nerd out. Don't nerd out in front of all these people.
Yeah.
So anyways, it was Tuesday that all of this happened. And let's talk about the interesting portion of this trailer.
Well, it was all interesting. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but the part where like Link's awesome. if it is Link.
Oh yeah, this is the thing that 'cause this was put out by what is it? I'm on IGN now, so I've got a few things open, and so I'll be able to actually pull up the guy's name because it's in the article. But yeah, apparently it's a Nintendo producer. Find the guy's name. It's see, I'm gonna butcher it now. It's Anonuma, AG Anonuma,
There we
um,
go.
and yeah, so he was in the beginning of the trailer, and uh, there was a comment that went out. This is again for people who have been living in the dark, and not are completely aware of this, but he said something like, "No one ever said that was Link," and then he followed up and he's like, "I didn't mean it like that. Everyone took it the wrong way." Um, he's like, "I never said it wasn't." Was with the follow-up statement.
Well, I took it
Um,
when I heard that statement first out before everyone went crazy. I was just like, oh, he's just referencing that you can personalize the name.
mhm. That and the article here on IGN talks about how just because he is the character that you play doesn't necessarily make him the main character.
Hmm.
Which I think is, in a lot of ways, it's true for a lot of games, not just in like Nintendo franchises, but outside. Like just because you are this character doesn't mean that's the main character in the game, or in the narrative, so to speak, the greater arching, whatever it is. But yeah, I mean, and that's really all he was saying. It's like we don't. I'm not saying it's like we weren't
Providing
saying
some
this
sort of
wasn't Link, but it's like a fun idea to throw out there. It's like, well, what if, and then it was like, how can we take this further, but it was people overreacted and like, oh my god, but I do like the the only way I can say it is conspiracy theories that come out of it, because there were people like, oh, it's Link and Zelda's son. Um, some people said, oh, maybe it's just like Zelda in disguise, like how I think you're saying, like maybe it's sort of like a young Sheik kind of character. But
yeah. Well, most people were like jumping to that conclusion. I was jumping to like, where does this take place in the timeline?
yeah,
And I was telling Ben like my theories are it's either pre-Skyward Sword adventure or it takes place like sort of immediately after Skyward Sword, except Hyrule's doing some reverse engineering with the technology, or it's after Spirit Tracks.
yeah, yeah. I'm not sure. See, and my opinion was maybe like just post Skyward Sword, like they're down. I don't want to say anything now that would like really spoil it for someone who hasn't played, um, but yeah, I will just say that post Skyward Sword, perhaps. But you know what? Before the whole timeline theory came out, and both Nintendo coming out with the timeline, it never occurred to me that there was a time like all these like there were little things in the games that I said like, okay, some of this kind of linked together, like um, when you get the Master Sword in Wind Waker and you see the stained glass windows and they're like the sages from Ocarina of Time. And I'm like, that's pretty neat. It's a nice little sub reference and things. But I never tried to place them all together. I always just sort of imagined them sort of like in different time periods and whatever. So
I
sort
was
of
like,
yeah.
opposite. I was one of those conspiracy theorists, like, okay, this goes here, that goes there. This doesn't make sense.
As long as it was the three characters, it was like whatever. Just I was just happy to see them in different scenarios.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things. Like there are some stories where it's either fan fiction or whatever that you just like. I don't want to see these characters in any story except the one they're supposed to be in. And then there are ones that are like you fall in love with the characters so much, and the Zelda franchise is like this, that you will actually enjoy seeing them in a variety of scenarios because the characters are so beloved in that way.
Hmm. Speaking of variety and of scenarios, I think we're done talking about Zelda U, and let's talk about Hyrulean Warriors.
I don't know. I don't like it.
I don't like it either, but I have a lot more to complain about.
You know, you. I know what you brought up earlier about how it's just Link and then all the girls.
I don't mind that it's
And
all the girls, but I mind is fan service.
um, I was. That's the thing. It's just before this started. I was reading up on stuff on IGN too about some of the recent stuff, and apparently, in Hyrule Warriors, you've only sort of been alluded to four characters. Four? I think it's yeah, four.
Mhm.
We've had Link, Zelda, and Midna sort of shown, but apparently there are 9 character slots in the game. I guess I don't know if it's playable characters or what, but so
Well,
I'm actually kind of interested to see who else shows up. Uh,
probably Groose. Maybe Groose?
oh, he's such a coward.
But he's actually athletic, like his muscles are actually useful, so
See,
he could.
I'm trying to think. Like, not to say like, oh, it's like okay, there's enough girls, but like who the guy characters are in the game, but because there aren't a lot of like other than Link, there aren't a lot of lead dominant male characters in the series.
Well,
So
if you
the
look at,
only thing I can think of are is like a Goron and a Zora.
well, I was thinking that they could go back to Twilight Princess, and because three-fourths of the team that helps Link out during the story are men.
Oh yeah, the little subdivision of yeah
Yeah,
those
the
guys.
subdivision of people that actually do stuff.
As almost meaningless as their actions are. It's like, oh yeah, I found this map, and yeah, just go, just take my life's work, and you can take it further, and whatever. I'll just
Do you
go
remember that
back,
actually did
go back
stuff?
to the barn.
Oh man. So they did kind of throw out some original characters, and like there's this one villainess that I just got so mad over because of mundane feminist complaints. And
Picking.
yeah, just like why is that armor only covering her boobs and that other area? Like if you throw a spear correctly at her, she'll die instantly.
There was a. I'm trying to think what it was. It must have been. I'm gonna say it was probably a college humor thing that was put out about how female armor is terrible in video games because it like only just kind of covers little pieces and it's more like underwear than it is armor.
Yeah, and
And it's
like
like they're completely unprotected for a raging battle.
yeah, like it's a big complaint for myself and like because like it's not realistic and you know it's just there for fan service.
Well, they're not trying to make it realistic. They're trying to make it it's a character design that they're thrown into a.
Yeah. Um, let's
I
see.
mean the same thing with oh crap.
Fire Emblem.
No, I'm just trying to think of. For example, this is a little bit of a stretch, but Mario walks around in overalls and a hammer, and yeah, a lot of even combat-oriented Mario games. Um, oh, that would be crazy. uh, Mario Warriors?
Mushroom War. Oh my gosh, that sounds horrible to say.
I would actually play that before I would play Hyrule Warriors, just to get like the Fire Flower power up and just do like this like atomic bomb and just flatten Goombas in just like
With
this
the
circular
mushroom
pattern.
town. And
See, now that would actually be funny. That
That
would
would
be worth playing, in my opinion. And it would have to be. It would have to be like really like that, like the cutesy 3D Mario style too. Like it would have to be kind of like Mario Sunshine, real bright.
you see Peach like running around in her golfing shorts along with Daisy in her soccer attire.
Oh man, that's good.
Luigi has a Necronomicon with him.
Oh, oh, oh man, that's bad.
Oh my gosh, what are we doing to a beloved children's franchise?
My beloved children's franchises were actually more of oh man, they were like really obscure ones too. Well, Earthworm Jim was a big part
I love that show.
of that era. The show, no, not the show. I'm
The show
talking
is
the game.
awesome.
1 and 2, specifically 2, which is unfortunate because 2 does not work on any emulators. But I did just recently found out that it's on Virtual Console.
Hmm.
So under the Sega version let me look through the systems. I was like looking through them all. I'm like, I probably would never get one of these because then I would have to buy it. But
Yeah.
I'm like, So
Uh,
okay, here's a bit of news. I don't know if this was in your list, but they announced that Minish Cap was going to be coming out for Virtual Console. Um,
I knew of that, and it's available for. I think it's already available to download for the Wii U. But
yeah, that's what they released it for, and I was like, "Oh, that is a good idea." I've been playing it. I've actually first played it on an emulator about a year ago. Like, this is really nice. And I actually really have never really played the handheld portable Zelda games, and it's just because I never owned one. You know, I knew people that owned like Game Boys, but I was like, and even if I wanted one, I wouldn't get one anyway. I'd like, Mom, can I get this? And she'd be like, no. But
so
if anything, I thank them for that because they actually taught me to look at my surroundings rather than look down on the screen, which is also possibly why I don't have a smartphone.
logical. That explain. Well, I was diagnosed with ADD as a kid, so like it's a miracle that I didn't pay attention. It's a miracle that I read.
I was
Um,
never diagnosed with ADD, but before I entered the seminary, they made me take this psychological test. And at the end of it, it said possible ADD, ADHD, and I looked right at it, and it was like this like 3-page report, and I was like, well, shit, I could have told you that without the without the doctor.
what's it called? Back on topic. Do. I don't like Hyrule Warriors, but at the same time, I'm very tempted to try it.
There is the level of, well, let's at least see how bad it is, you know.
But like, I really don't like the gameplay, but it looks really nice.
It does. They've done a really nice job with the presentation of it.
Yeah, like with exception of said villainous, I really like the battle armor of Zelda and Impa. I like that they brought
Yeah.
Midnight back. No idea how.
If anything, the character designs are phenomenal.
Yeah, like actually,
The scarf with Link, and I'm like, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I was just thinking, I was like wondering why does Zelda look so interesting? And like, it took me a while to get this, but like, they actually merged the Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword Zelda together.
Yeah. Well, it is. I think there's a couple of guys from, I don't know if it was a third-party developer that's actually kind of, because it was in their since they didn't do a press conference, but they did do the web thing, and it was the guy that we mentioned before, whose name I've already forgotten,
We're
and
bad parents.
and these two other guys, and we'll call him the producer because that's what he is. The producer was kind of just there, kind of overseeing everything, making sure they didn't like really screw something up. And the other two guys that were developing it based on the Dynasty Warriors franchise are like, they're like, this is really cool. We got to really try hard not to mess this up. Which, in a way, I feel like doing it at all, you messed it up. But
Well,
if with having that in mind, that the fact that it's like basically a fan game with Nintendo supervision, that to me is fairly like once I heard that, I was like, I can appreciate this now.
yeah. And when the first couple of trailers came out, I was like, why are you calling it Hyrule Warriors if it's just Link? And
Yeah,
now that they're actually adding people, it makes sense.
right. And there was I think a little talk about I don't know how they're doing story, or if they're even doing any kind of a story, but the one thing I heard was all of them, like whoever's battling or something like that, or like basically at a knight academy, kind of like in Skyward Sword, it was like the Skyloft Knight Academy. So they're in a way they're sort of in training to a degree,
I can see
and
that because in a few
and then
shots,
in my guess maybe it's like, oh, there are more guys out here than we were training to do, so whoops. you know. But yeah, I can't say for sure.
yeah. So like
Speculation.
speculation, well, it's kind of true because like you see shots of Link like wearing like traditional knight armor before he gets his usual attire with badass scarf,
Hmm.
and I like most of it. I like that they're not really going overboard with fan service, with the exception of
Yeah.
two characters, Villainous and Great Fairy.
Let's be honest though, the Great Fairy has been weird in really every game, except maybe Link to the Past, where they first sort of introduced the Great Fairy.
So
She
she's like,
was she was tasteful in that.
she wore a traditional magical girl
Just,
outfit,
just like a dress, you know. It's like that's nice.
and or
Yes,
green.
I will pay you 1,000 rupees for you to increase my bombs over the course of the game, but
She got slightly more useful in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
yeah, Twilight Princess, she was like anorexic before from living in the cave, and
I really liked the Great Fairies in Wind Waker.
yeah, yeah.
Like those scenes are really beautiful.
Because everything was stylized. It was just basically a blob with wings. It's a really terrible way to put that, but it's true.
Let's see. Nothing else to say about Hyrule Warriors other than we don't like it, but we're very tempted
We can
by it.
appreciate it anyway. I will say that if nothing else, I won't buy it. I won't. I'm not interested. But it is. I'm not interested, but I am interesting. It is interesting and to see the spin-off that it is. I'll just say that. It's a
Um,
spin-off and it's interesting, but it's not for me.
I may get it like out of pure curiosity, but otherwise I'll probably like go on YouTube and watch a bunch of Let's Plays.
So next topic, right? Sounds
Now
like
it's
you
funny.
were.
It's funny. Instead of writing Hyrule Warriors, I wrote Hyrule Knights.
That actually sounds cooler.
It's a more appropriate title in my opinion because it's like a warrior is like someone that battles for the heck of it. A knight is someone that defends people.
Although, I think Midna would battle for the heck of it. She seems to enjoy, like even in the couple of trailers that we've seen, she seems to really enjoy herself.
Yeah, Midna's a lovely person, even though a lot of people say she was a jerk in the first episode.
Person.
Well, people say she was a jerk in Twilight Princess, and I was like, no, she
Well,
wasn't.
she was because she was a dynamic character that at the beginning was sort of a bad guy, and then kind of He's like, oh, I see that you're really selfless and awesome, so I think I should be that way too, you know.
I always just figured that she was just hiding her emotions, like she didn't want to get too attached or anything like that.
You know, there was that, but then there's the one cutscene where she just where it's like the backstory where she first sees Wolf Link and being sort of being dragged away, and she got this really nasty grin on her face, like old-fashioned Grinch smile, and I'm like, that's creepy as hell.
And by the end of the game, her heart pieces grew 3 times their size.
I should do a parody comic now.
But like from later cutscenes in Twilight Princess, and it's not spoilers anymore. It's been almost 10 years.
Yeah, really.
Um, it looked like she honestly did care about her kingdom.
That was really cool to me. That in a way that to me that was like uh, the whole game and the whole story was the Zelda Midna. What do I want to say here? Parallel in a way, you know,
So
because it's like
that
okay, parallel world, parallel princesses. So they're both real very. They're a lot like each other, and at the same time they have their differences. You know, so you have these two characters, and what's amazing about Twilight Princess is that you rarely see Zelda in that game. You know, and
she's a
so I remember, and this is the thing is like the first until you get to that scene where they kind of reveal who's who and up to the end and everything. Um, you're the whole time I was playing that game, I was trying to ask myself who the Twilight Princess is. Like I couldn't decide. Is it her? Is it her? You know, and it drove me insane the entire time. I'm like, oh, it's
um,
her. Oh no, it's not. It's you know, it kept going back and forth.
during my time playing Twilight Princess, I was one of the few people that managed to find and purchase a GameCube version. So,
I
haha.
that's that's me too though. I mean,
Oh,
I because I didn't have a Wii at the time because for a while I I had the GameCube and they're like, oh, there's gonna be one more GameCube game, and then they came out with the Wii, and then they released that they were putting it on both systems. I'm like, that's great because it was both something of a launch title, or it might have been a little bit later than the launch title, but the fact that they did release it for, and I think that was because people were expecting it for GameCube, and they weren't expecting it for Wii as much. So when they did the dual release, that was great, and I picked it up. Um, I think it released like I think just before Christmas that year, and I picked it up like right after Christmas.
the
And
GameCube version is better.
it's 1,000 times better for two reasons. I think there are two reasons. I'm just going to say the reasons. One, because I saw the Wii version once, and it's backwards. And I read about this, and it's because they did had to move the sword over, and it's the one time in the course of the series up to this point anyway, because it changed for Skyward Sword too, because Link was always left-handed, and and for the Wii version, like oh, in a lot of ways more people are right-handed. It's sort of a weird, somewhat prejudicey thing to do, but they're like, oh, we need to make Link right-handed for this game because more people are going to be right-handed. But they couldn't reprogram the game in the way that it was, so they just took basically the entire map and the characters and everything, and reversed it like a mirror.
Well, it was kind of a last minute thing too, where they got asked, "Hey, you guys want to make this a release title, a launch title for the Wii too?" So like it was
Yeah,
kind of pulled together. We don't have Wii Motion Plus just yet, so
yeah. That's right. That's what it was because it was a GameCube game. They're like, oh, let's throw it on here too, and like, well, we got to do something. And I remember my cousin who was I think like maybe 15 at the time or something when it came out, 14 or 15, and uh, it was like he was asking me he was stuck. And I didn't really want to help him. Like, no, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. Because I didn't want to ruin anything. That and I didn't remember what to do, honestly. Because I'd have to sit down and play. I'm like, oh, you're here now. You have to do this. I can't just jump in and oh yeah, you gotta. I don't know, but uh, I was like, oh yeah, go to the left, and he went to the left. I'm like, that's not right. And then I remembered, oh, they flipped everything. So rather than going like right down the street and like down these steps or something, it's or like or right over to this house. It's like no, it's on the left this time because they had to reverse everything. I'm like, this is so dumb, and it was confusing the hell out of me. I'm like, this looks weird. It looks wrong because I'm so used to it as it the other way, and I'm sure someone would think vice versa. But
Yeah, I had that problem too because like I didn't cheat, but I was having a hard time finding the last of the little spirit bugs. So I was like, IGN,
and they
and
had
it had only the
three
Wii
versions
version.
of them. Hmm.
So I was like, frack, where is this bug? Oh, it's in that woman's afro.
Oh man.
It's kind of disgusting to think about
I,
now.
I, I, I actually know what you're talking about too. That's just the funny part. Oh, but I think there was another point I wanted to make about it too. I don't know what it was. That might have been
Well,
it. That might have been my only complaint, but
well, my thing was at the time I was part of a very strong Zelda community. I think it got taken. I think the owner kind of just shut it down though because of.
they pop up and down all the time though.
So like I was part of a very strong Zelda community, and like there was shipping wars, and fans were not pleased with Ilya.
Yeah. I am notorious for mispronouncing characters' names in games. I called her Leela for the longest time.
Well, look, she doesn't have purple hair and one eye.
I have what?
Leela from
Oh,
Futurama.
right. And Midna, I don't know what I called her, but I know I didn't call her Midna. It was something else, and then I heard it, and I was like, that makes more sense. And worst of all, um, I didn't know how to pronounce Hylian for the longest time. I'd be Hylian,
Wait,
nothing.
it's Hylian. It's not
It's
Hyrulean.
no, it's Hylian. So you don't know either. Nobody knows. That's because nobody's ever had cause to actually say it. And then I heard it. And I'm like, yeah, that's how it's spelled.
Whoopsie.
Yeah, because the Y isn't there. It's just they turn them into a bunch of I's, and it's Hilly. And I was like, oh, I've been saying it wrong for 10 years, whatever.
But we have an excuse. We're not educated in
American.
that part of the world.
We're American.
But we can actually say America, right?
America.
No. Okay,
You
so
you only use that when it's something dumb and stupid and my apologies, Southern.
oh, that's right. I'm from the South.
You don't sound like it though. You're like Josh Waddy, You don't. It doesn't, you're like really? I don't hear it at all. It's.
Well, if it helps make this more sense, if this helps make any sense, I watched a lot of British TV, like in adolescence.
Uh,
So, like that period of time we were learning how to talk. So, for the longest time, I talked with a British accent as a kid.
oh, that must have been weird.
It was weird. Like my relatives would ask my parents, "Why is he talking with a British accent?"
Uh,
So, back to the topic. Other Nintendo E3 games. Smash Brothers.
other than Smash Bros. The
Um,
Yoshi one looks fun.
I haven't seen the Yoshi one.
Oh my god, it's like Kirby's Epic Yarn on steroids.
I haven't played any Kirby games. I'm
It's
poor.
oh, you terrible person.
Well, I'm a terrible person, but not because I don't play Kirby games.
No, that's why you're there first. Yeah, it was one of the games that I grew up with was Kirby Superstar on Super Nintendo.
Um,
It's just amazing. It's amazing. And I and
that
I play, and I played a lot of Kirby 64 when I was at friend's house too. Unfortunately, it was one player. It was like, well, there was a multiplayer, but it was pretty crappy. My thing about Kirby 64 was how you could mix abilities. Like I'm gonna take fire and ice and throw them together, and all that wasn't as cool as I thought it was.
caused an explosion. Oh, Ocarina of Time reference.
What?
No, because you know Twinova. I'm probably mispronouncing the name.
Oh, actually, no. That probably makes Twin Room. That yeah.
Let's see how you pronounce it for real, not for play
No,
play.
I'm pretty sure I have mispronounced that wrong for years. I think I throw an L into it.
Oh well,
Make it twin Rolva maybe.
while we're on that subject, is it Gerudo or Gerudo?
I've said Gerudo, but
So have I.
you know, it's up in the air.
We'll ask a
But
Japanese
but,
person.
but yes, the Yoshi one is it's kind of like if you imagine a game like Yoshi's Story only less on acid. Um,
That game
I'm
was
sorry.
cute.
I've when I inherited my great uncle's collection, I one of the ones I actually held on to was Yoshi Story, and I played it again, and I'm like, this is like crack. This is video games on crack. It's the weirdest thing. There's no you just collect stuff. There's no start and end to a level. You skip between worlds like this, and I'm like, what is? There's no continuity. It's just a mess.
There was continuity.
It was a mess. But anyway, this new one is called Yoshi's Woolly World, and it's like yarn and wool, but rather Kirby's Epic Yarn was more like strands, and this one is like knitted stuff. And
Aw.
Yoshi is basically a sock puppet,
Okay.
and it's adorable. And
That's
it's
on.
whenever I probably get a Wii U eventually, I'll probably get that one.
Oh. The game that made my inner child squee with all of its cuteness was Toad.
Toad's the title is terrible.
It,
Treasure something I don't know. I
it's
see.
just.
This is funny because I was watching it. I was laughing. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And then by the end of the trailer, I was like, I want to play this.
I just thought it was just so cute.
It's about halfway through. I'm like, this. For first, I was like, this is just funny and silly. And I'm like, okay, this is adorable. And then I was like, you know what? I would probably play this. I've always liked Toad, despite the rumors that he's gay.
I thought toads should, because they're part fungi. Oh, they're fungi's.
Fun
Science
guy.
joke. Um,
I just,
I
I
just,
just know the Brental floss Toad. Yeah.
um, I just thought they reproduced by spores, or maybe the mushroom is a hat. I really don't care to discuss it.
There was. Oh, what the hell was the name of that? It was a
Donnie Darko.
no, it was a Mario parody web series about a Koopa and a Goomba. Oh, what the hell was the name of that? I don't remember. I have to find it now. Bowser's Kingdom. That's what it was.
Mmm.
It is hilarious, but it's also a little bit bad and a little bit dark. It's it, it's not for kids. Let me just say it that way. There are adult references, but it's hilarious. So yeah, it's like the Dorkly shorts, you know.
Oh, okay. No, I'm sorry. I'm just like scrolling through something right now. It's like no human has seen tonight's full honeymoon. Oh, it's a honeymoon. Wait, what?
The internet. What, Dorkly?
No, I'm looking at this thing and it's saying that nobody has seen tonight's full honeymoon in almost 100 years, and apparently tomorrow's a Friday the 13th and a full moon. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but eh.
Means watch your back for werewolves, I suppose.
My name is Buffy. This is what I do. I'm the vampire slayer.
You actually
Oh,
watched that?
I loved that show, but she was friends with the werewolf, so never mind.
Oh man.
That was my high school years. I loved that show. It was better than Charmed.
I'm not. You know what? I'm not even gonna touch this.
Um, Back to the Toad game. It just looked so cute.
You gotta watch the trailer for Yoshi.
I will after this. He's just so good. You just want to squishy,
He's.
huggy hug.
I'm sure there is a Toad plushie somewhere.
I don't know. He just reminds me of like my favorite nephew. And yes, internet, I do play favorites with my siblings' offspring. Mainly because like he's the easiest to get to
I.
behave.
Oh man, I just searched for Toad plushie and there are a lot of them.
I know what I'm getting
They are
myself.
awesome. They are awesome.
So it looks like a unique game, and like I think it's about time Toad finally got his own game.
It's I of all the weird spin-offs to give a character, you know what? That's actually a good one.
Yeah, because like they gave Peach her own spin-off, and
When was that?
it was for the DS. It was Peach's something adventure, and
Hmm.
her weapon was her emotions.
Hmm.
And there's this horrible semi-adult joke in it that she used the vibe rod as a thing.
Jeez. Oh, childhood.
Yes, it's in the
Uh,
game too.
right in the childhood. Okay.
Um, Peach's something or other, like she had to save Mario and Luigi for a change.
Hmm. As long as we don't go to the Mario is missing route.
I've seen the physical copy of that game. I don't want to discuss
I,
it.
I played the physical copy of that game. That's what sucks.
How
Hmm.
bad is it?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. The answer is yes.
Understandable. Um,
But what was I gonna say now?
well, I just thought that Toad deserved his own spin-off because in one of the Super Mario games, like he's one of the playable characters, and like
That's what I wanted to say.
he has near maxed out stats, and it's like, forget Mario, I want to play as Toad.
Well, you could play him as him in Mario Brothers 2, although most people agree that Mario Brothers 2 never happened. Um, one because it was just a reskin of another game, and two because it was like, what?
Yeah, no,
Um,
like I think it's probably the same game that we're talking about where you could play as Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad, and like usually it's
yeah,
like,
that's Mario Brothers 2.
I had that for the Game Boy Advance.
I've got the All Stars for Super Nintendo, so it's
Mm.
okay. Here's we're supposed to be Zelda. We're on Mario now. If you own or have played Mario All Stars, uh, if for those of you that don't consider Mario 2 to be the real Mario 2, the real Mario 2 is actually Super Mario Brothers: The Lost Levels, which is one of the four options in Mario All Stars. So woo! There's
Woohoo,
technically
Audie.
two. There's technically two Super Mario Brothers 2s,
Different timelines.
but Did you ever play through the second one? Do you know the ending?
No, no, I was my parents didn't get me a game console until like the N64, so
Yeah, that was a nice one to have as a first console anyway.
it was great to have.
I never had it as a console until a couple years ago, but I played like a ton of games just from friends' houses and stuff.
I my personal favorites are Diddy Kong Racing and like a bunch of happy family friendly games.
And then GoldenEye.
Oh, I killed so many friends with GoldenEye.
So many great moments. But there was something else about yeah. In the one thing I want to bring up was Mario RPG: The Legend of the Seven Stars. Great game. Um, in that game, you couldn't play as Toad, but his dialogue, he was such a badass. There was one line that stands out, and it was something like, "I would have helped, but I forgot my bazooka at home. Sheesh."
That is crazy. Um,
But oh yeah, so at the very end of Mario 2, you beat the final boss, and there's like I don't think they did a parade. They did just kind of like this big show in the stadium and whatever. And it's revealed that Mario was dreaming the entire time, and it was like, huh? So and people have speculated that you know what, if that wasn't a dream, that would be the most screwed up thing in the world.
well, they did pull that in one of the Game Boy Zelda games. Like, which one was it?
Let's see. Adventure of Link, Oracle of
Adventure Link.
Ages, Oracle of Seasons.
Adventure of Link.
I haven't played them, but I know them.
Yeah, Adventure of Link. Like, it turned out like it was a almost Lovecraftian inspired, where like the final thing that Link had to wake up said, "Okay, Link, you're gonna be the only person alive because once I wake up, reality is gonna cease to exist. This reality."
There was this game that I played on an emulator because it wasn't released in the U.S. called Terra Enigma. That I haven't beat it, but I've watched the ending, and it's a lot like that. It's like you wake up and it's like your last day alive. And that's probably one of those things why it wasn't released in the U.S. because I'm this is too creepy and morbid for yeah.
U.S.
Like there
children.
was like in the 90s Nintendo censored the games that they did release. Some of them they censored, and they just didn't release a number of games just for various reasons. But and there's another really good one. Again, anyone who has an emulator, Tales of Fantasia, well worth playing if you can find it's the ROM with an English translation, like patch or something. And because it was never released outside of Japan, it is an amazing game. I think it might have had a, a s- a post-release for like PS1 at some point, but really, really great game. Also, one of the very few for Super Nintendo that actually had a song in it with
Hmm?
with vocals.
Wow.
Freaking awesome. I'll have to send that to you once we finish the live show, but
What was I gonna say? I had something concerning Zelda, and yes, the Hyrulean and Mushroom Kingdom militia. Completely worthless.
yeah, really. They just stand there, and then when something real danger comes along, then not that Mushroom Kingdom really had a militia, they're just all toads. The king gets nervous and he just starts chucking them.
There's no king, they're both ruled by princesses.
In again, I come back to Mario RPG. There was a chancellor, and then there was the princess.
Chancellor Palpatine.
The chancellor was kind of the figurehead and kind of thing, but the princess sort of had a little bit more say, you know.
Oh, okay.
Like maybe she wasn't old enough to take over the kingdom, so the chancellor was there, like. But it was nothing was ever said. You're just making stuff up.
I always figure that
It's like,
Peach is like
why does the princess get to run away and the, whatever.
I figure that Peach is like 18 and 24, and Zelda fluctuates between 16, well, 10 and 18 at least.
Yeah, gotta account for the cell shading ones.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Well, no, I figured Tetra was a little older than Link because she knew what she was doing.
There's another one, Tetra. I called her Terra for the longest time.
That would actually be pretty cool because
Did
like
not did not see the second T in there at all.
no, but
Just
that would make awesome sense because Terra means Earth and she's looking for
yeah,
land.
yeah. But it only makes sense in the other versions, not really so much Wind Waker.
Yeah.
But okay, so funny story. The one I think it was Phantom Hourglass that I got to play like 5 minutes of. A friend of mine had it. He was playing on DS, and I was like, oh, that's that thing. And he's like, here, try this for me. And he goes into whatever. It's like a shooting range or whatever in those little mini games. And what you had to do is you had the bow, and you pull back with the stylus, and you shoot across the screen to these little panels. And what the panels did is they would come out sideways and then turn. I didn't know this. He didn't explain this to me. So I was shooting them while they were still sideways, like this. And I was just boom, 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 boom. And he's watching me, and he's like, oh, yeah, by the way, don't hit the red ones or whatever. They're bad. And I'm like, they're all the same color. What are you talking about? And he glances over. He's like, oh, my God, you're hitting them sideways. And I'm like, am I not supposed to? And he's like, no, they flip over. And they went, pfft. And I'm like, oh, that's way easier. Like I was just completely, I had made it into this huge challenge of hitting them when they're like this little skinny tiny thing, like maybe the width of like 4 of the arrows in that game, where it was about how wide they were when they were sideways, and then they turn and then they're like, I don't know, a decent chunk of the screen there like that on the screen, and then the sideways they're tiny little things. I was just boom, 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 hitting them. And he's like, then he's like, wait, do that again. So I'm like, okay, boom, 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 boom. And he's like, how are you doing that?
Well, that's how you know you're a true gamer is you can master something within moments.
If I could hit something before I was supposed to.
God. Well, I have nothing left on the list, and we have about
Been
3
going for
minutes
about an
left.
hour.
Huh?
Left? Left? What do you mean left?
Oh,
You
I have time
timing?
for
Are
an
you
hour.
timing us? Oh,
Yeah.
I was gonna say we'd be going for about an hour, unless you wanted, I don't know, something else.
Oh. Unless you want to go like into an extremely long Zelda discussion concerning the Hyrule Historia,
No, I'd have to go downstairs to get my book.
I still have to buy mine.
You have the digital version. Shut up.
The digital version's not. It's convenient, but it's not the same.
It's not big. You're not sitting there with it on your lap like, oh. It's not a. It feels like a tome or a manuscript. You're just like opening it up.
There's like this
Like,
meme.
you pulled it out of a secret compartment in the Temple of Time, and you lifted back the rock thing, and then you pull this thing out, and it's huge. It's not. I mean, it's not huge, but it's bigger than it's like twice the size of a normal book or whatever.
It's
Double. The one side of the page, I think it's like I think like a computer sheet of paper. It's like 2 of those for one page.
yeah, you're right.
Then they're the 2 ish, maybe 1.5, but that big. It was this big.
I just found it over there because like it's so detailed and pretty.
Yes, it's very nice. It is somewhere between a game book and an art book, and that's what I like about it.
I know, and the cool thing is, for all of the most recent Zelda games, they have started releasing the guides in the same style.
Yeah.
Because I almost bought a guide at Best Buy that was styled a game guide at Best Buy because I thought it was a history of Hyrule. Don't be dying on my channel.
I'm sorry.
Go.
So are you? Is that about it then?
We have, because I want to do a whole damn hour. Yeah, we're just about done.
We can be just under an hour. It'll be fine.
Okay, so for those of you watching, it's just like,
But and remember just to hit stop this time. Don't just X.
yes, because I'm technology, can't talk.
You can't even talk. How can you hold a mouse or trackpad, whatever you got?
Trackpad.
Okay, you
So
know what I mean.
to all 1 to 8 of you watching this,
Oh, there
thank
have actually been people watching.
people that we have 0 viewers.
Oh,
People
well.
that will watch this. There's a timer.
Oh, look at that.
Thank you, technology.
For once.
Thank you for listening to our mumblings concerning Zelda and other games. This is Apology89, and this is.
Oh. Sorry. Ben from DMC Films and Cinderblock Studios. So you can just search DMC Film. You can just search Cinderblock Studios. You'll probably find me on YouTube.
Yes, well, you'll get better quality entertainment concerning Guard.
And less of this random other stuff.
Okay.
Which is why I
Good.
wanted this. Which is why I wanted this on your channel because I didn't want this on my channel. Sorry.
Alright, well, good night, Internet.